Good morning.
Good morning.
That's not good enough, guys. It's Friday. Good morning.
Good morning.
Awesome. Thank you. What an honor it is to be here as a part of this platform. I am truly humbled. If someone told her, if someone told her that she'd be standing on a stage talking to a bunch of strangers about her favorite thing, she'd probably give me this face. And anybody who knows me today knows that I still make that face. She would ask me a bunch of questions, like why would we be talking to strangers? But after some convincing, she would grab her Bert and Ernie doll, she'd put on a stack of bracelets, slather on some lip gloss, and then she'd say, "Let's go tell those strangers about our favorite place." My name is Elma Felix. I'm an architect, author, urban designer, policy writer, and self-proclaimed maker of special places. To get us in the right frame of mind for what we're going to be talking about today, I'd like us to pause for a moment, and I'd like to ask you all to think about your favorite space. And take a couple seconds. Close your eyes if you have to. It could be indoors or out. It could be a public or private space. It could be someplace in this county, in this state, in this world. Once you have that place, hold on to it. Really have a sensory experience in this place that you love. How does it make you feel? Does it make you feel connected, safe, optimistic? Whatever those feelings are, hold on to them, and we'll address them in a moment. I'm fortunate that my work has brought me across the globe, so I have lots of favorite places, but it all started with one place. And if it isn't clear by now, because I left you a little nugget in the beginning, it's Sesame Street. And when I say I loved Sesame Street, y'all, I loved Sesame Street, okay? Now listen, we're not gonna date these pictures, okay? You can tell that they're vintage. But Sesame Street was awesome to me. And sure, Bert and Ernie and Big Bird, they were all cool, right? Colorful, fun, but that wasn't it. And I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, so their streets looked like mine, their neighborhood looked like mine, and the neighborhood characters were a dime a dozen. But that wasn't quite it either. Sesame Street was magical to me because it made me feel like I belonged. That at any point in time, I can take my body, shove it in the TV screen, and I would just be part of that cast. It was fascinating to me. It was layered, it was diverse, it was unique, it was fun. Little did I know that those layers would serve as the building blocks for my entire career. I work at a unique intersection between design and policy. One that integrates design, yes, but enhanced with community need, resident input, and best practices, all coming together to align to one goal. My emphasis is always on impact first, design second, essentially form following the function. I believe that our built environment has a profound impact on who we are as a society, what we value, how we see each other and interact with each other. Great public spaces foster those types of things. So, how would we go about creating amazing places? Through a process called placemaking. I'm sure that on your drive home, some of you have seen some not so savory parts of our community, because great public spaces are quite a luxury. You've seen maybe abandoned vacant buildings boarded up as a result of economic downturns. Perhaps you've seen vacant lots, thick and overgrown with brush, completely abandoned. Or you may have seen soulless strip malls that seem to continue on for miles and miles and miles and miles. So how do we rethink those places in our community? Simply, again, through the process of placemaking. Placemaking at its core is transforming space into place. It aims to transform underutilized, abandoned, and neglected spaces in our community and weave them back together as a part of our social fabric. I've seen firsthand the power of placemaking. I've seen it enhance neighbors' connection with each other. I've seen it enhance neighborhoods' connection to each other. And sometimes magically, I've also seen it heal relationships with agencies that have historically failed us. One of my favorite examples of placemaking is in a neighborhood in Dallas, Texas called Oakcliff. The neighbors of Oakcliff were tired of their community because it didn't reflect who they were and ultimately who they wanted to be. So they got together and they started talking about ways that they can improve their community. Over the course of a weekend, they transformed space into place. They painted crosswalks and bike lanes so that people in the neighborhood can peruse a little bit more safely. They brought in trees and flowers and plants to not just make the area green, but to make it feel alive. They brought in public art and sculptures to give it a sense of character. They even converted an old garage into a children's art studio to further bring families into the area. To go up a step above, they brought in tables and chairs so that members of the public could sit with each other and talk over a cup of coffee or a meal, something that they probably wouldn't do while driving by each other in their cars or whizzing by from the supermarket. And all of that was great, but they were breaking a lot of rules because the zoning code didn't allow it at all. But they printed every single rule that they were breaking, and they posted it in any window that they could find throughout the space. Then they invited the residents to come over and see what they had done and participate in their vision. What they also did was invite the city council. That was a really gutsy move for them because it could have gone way worse, right? But after much meaningful dialogue, the city council changed the zoning regulations because they realized that the laws on the books didn't foster the types of neighborhoods and connections that people wanted. Oakcliff today is used as a case study, not just in placemaking, but how you can transform a community through their will. So, how might you go about doing this in your own communities if you wanted to? And I'm a big advocate for you doing so. I believe that there's a formula, a prescription, if you will, to reactivate underutilized spaces. And it begins simply with the space. Quick show of hands. How many of you on your daily commute have driven by a piece of property or biked by it, walked by it, ran by it, and said to yourself, ugh, what a missed opportunity? Quick show of hands. Okay, so almost everybody, and that's fantastic because you all have begun to reimagine what your neighborhood could be. Step 2, understand. Understanding the zoning laws, rules, and regulations are helpful, and I know they're boring, and I know they're filled with jargon, but don't be intimidated. Someone from your local municipality's planning office can assist you in understanding what it means. 3, organize. Find a group of like-minded residents and just start talking. You would be amazed at the similarities and commonalities that you all would have about the future of your neighborhood. 4, envision. Envision the space with people who live, work, and play in and around the space, because then they'll have a vested interest in its success. They'll want to be there with you at every step of the way, and that's really important. 5, activate. Seating, lighting, benches, art, you name it. Anything that you can think of to activate the space and encourage people to come. Now, don't think that you have to do it all at once, and don't think that you have to get it perfect. Try a couple of things out and see how people react to them. And what doesn't work, toss it out, and then try something new. 6, design for all. Ensure that you are designing an inclusive space where all are welcomed. For example, how would someone approach the space walking versus approaching in a wheelchair? Very different experiences and very unique. So put yourself in someone else's shoes to imagine what that place would feel like for them. And lastly, what is the one cardinal rule of any mass gathering? Food. Yeah. Don't forget the food. Guys, food is amazing. It has transformational power. And you don't have to make this complicated either. A barbecue pit, a popcorn machine, cotton candy, tacos, you name it. The opportunities are endless. So don't forget the food. One of my favorite quotes about Place is, "This is Sesame Street, a place where people, birds, and monsters all live together in perfect harmony." I'd add one more thing. They lived in perfect harmony because they felt like they belonged, just like I felt like I belonged there. And the same way that you have those feelings pent up about your favorite place, it's that. We all crave places that we can be our best selves in, that we can let loose, lose track of time, and just relax, be in the company of others. The future of our society rests in these spaces. As a designer, it is my life's work to leave my community better than when I found it. So, join me today in making special places a part of our landscape for generations to come. Thank you.